Busy Bee Town was abuzz with activity. Bees zoomed here and there. Flowers bloomed everywhere. It was the busiest, brightest town around, and it had the youngest sheriff ever, Sheriff Tiny. Tiny was small, even for a kid, but he wore a huge cowboy hat and an even bigger smile. He wanted to be the best sheriff ever. He knew he had big shoes to fill, but Tiny was ready. One day, a big problem hit Busy Bee Town. The usually bustling and cheerful town was thrown into chaos. The queen bee's honeycomb was missing. It was a disaster. The honeycomb was the heart of the town, and without it, everything seemed to fall apart. The whole town buzzed with worry. Bees gathered in small groups, whispering and speculating about what could have happened. Who could have taken it? Was it an outsider, or was there a thief among them? The air was thick with suspicion. Sheriff Tiny knew he had to act fast. He was the town's only hope to solve this mystery and bring back the honeycomb. He put on his thinking hat. It was his special hat for solving tough cases. It was way too big for his head. The hat wobbled and tilted, but Sheriff Tiny didn't mind. But it made him look important. He stood tall and proud, ready to take on the challenge. He asked all the bees lots of questions. He wanted to know if anyone had seen anything unusual or suspicious. He even talked to the flowers. They were known to be great observers, always rooted in one place, watching everything that happened around them. Tiny noticed something strange. It was a quiet morning in the meadow, and the bees were buzzing around as usual. But something caught Tiny's eye. There were tiny footprints near the queen's hive. Tiny bent down to get a closer look. These footprints were unlike any he had seen before. They weren't bee footprints, they were ant footprints. Tiny's mind raced. What could ants be doing near the beehive? Tiny followed the trail. It led to a big anthill. The ants were busy, scurrying in and out, carrying tiny bits of food. Tiny thought hard. He knew ants loved sweet things. Could they have taken something from the hive? He pondered over the possibilities. Could they have taken the honeycomb? He had an idea. If the ants loved sweet things, maybe he could use that to his advantage. He gathered a group of bees. They needed to work together to solve this mystery and get back what was taken. They flew to the apple orchard and back. The bees collected sweet apple juice, knowing it would attract the ants. They dropped sweet apple juice all the way to the queen's hive. The ants, unable to resist the sweet trail, followed it back, revealing their hidden stash of honeycomb. Section 4. A hero in overalls. The ants followed the sweet trail, their tiny legs moving in perfect unison. They were on a mission, driven by the irresistible scent of apple juice that led them through the bustling town. Each ant was focused, determined to reach the source of the sweetness. They were so busy following the apple juice, they dropped the honeycomb. The precious honeycomb tumbled to the ground, causing a moment of chaos among the ants. They looked around in surprise, realizing the gravity of their mistake. The honeycomb was essential for their survival, and now it lay on the ground, vulnerable and exposed. Tiny got the honeycomb back to the queen. The whole town cheered. Sheriff Tiny, with his quick thinking and swift actions, managed to retrieve the honeycomb and return it to the queen bee. The bees buzzed with joy, their wings fluttering in celebration. The town's residents gathered around, clapping and cheering for their tiny hero. Sheriff Tiny was a hero. His bravery and determination had saved the day. The townsfolk couldn't stop talking about his heroic deed. Tiny's smile was wide, his heart swelling with pride. He had proven that even the smallest among them could make a big difference. Even though he was small, Tiny had a big heart and even bigger ideas. He often pondered on how he could make the town a better place. His mind was always buzzing with new plans and strategies. Tiny knew that his size didn't define his capabilities. It was his heart and his ideas that truly mattered. He knew being sheriff wasn't about size. It was about the courage to stand up for what was right and the wisdom to make the right decisions. Tiny stood confidently, knowing that his role as sheriff was to protect and serve his community, no matter the challenges. It was about helping others and being brave. Tiny's actions spoke louder than words. He was always ready to lend a helping hand, whether it was guiding lost ants or rescuing fallen honeycombs. His bravery was evident in every task he undertook, no matter how big or small. And Tiny was both, in a big way. His heroic pose and big smile were a testament to his character. Tiny had shown that true heroism comes from within, and it's not about the size of the individual, but the size of their heart and their willingness to help others. Section 5. Lessons from the Smallest Sheriff. From that day on, Sheriff Tiny was a hero. He learned that even the smallest person can make a big difference. All it takes is a kind heart, a clever mind, and the courage to try your best. And maybe a really big hat.